What is up, economics and entrepreneurs? Welcome to your Thursday class. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're following the news. More importantly, I hope everyone is heeding all of the warnings that the news is offering. Um, Stay safe, stay out of trouble. I have to deal with this guy. Um, but yeah, one of the reasons why I want you to do the CNN 10 do now for today as your attendance assignment is because I want to make sure you're following the news. I want to make sure you are, hearing some of these updates because the updates are coming fast and furious. Most of them are coming daily, if not hourly, if not by the minute. So there's a lot happening, and I want you guys to stay on top of it. And more importantly, I want you guys to do your part as high school students in staying home and avoiding large crowds and following all of the rules when it comes to these lockdowns and shelter in places and whatever may come next. So make sure you guys are following the news. Make sure you watch CNN 10 today, and just leave me a comment. Give me your opinion, give me your feedback on some of the news stories covered in CNN 10. If you want to comment on a news story that wasn't covered in CNN 10, by all means, feel free to do that. But you can do it right in the comment section of that post on Google Classroom. All right, and I'll give you your 5 points for the assignment, and I'll check you in as having attended class for the day. The second thing you're going to have to do by 11:59 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday night. It's Wednesday for me, but it's Thursday for you. Is you're going to use the PowerPoint notes that I attached, and you're going to answer the questions that I included in a Google Doc. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right now, real quick, because I do want to go over some of the terms and topics that are going to be covered. All right. So, like I said, this will be posted for you when you wake up Thursday morning. It'll post at 7:30 in the morning. The first thing I want to take a look at, I'll show you the Google Doc real quick and the questions that I put together. All right, we're actually covering two sections today. Section 2, the price system at work, and Section 3, social goals and market, with a capital M, efficiency. We're not going to get too much into social goals and market efficiency. A lot of it isn't really overly relevant for a introductory level economics class, but we do get into it a little bit, and I'll show you that when we get to the PowerPoint. All right, so using the PowerPoint, you have your online textbook, you have everything you need, including the figures, the charts and graphs and stuff that I included in the PowerPoint. You're going to answer these 6 questions. All right, I'm not going to go through them, they're pretty self explanatory. All the answers can be found in the PowerPoint. The big thing I want you to think about today, all right, is economics in the news. The big story outside of the COVID-19 virus is the effect it's having on the stock market and the US economy. Go do some research. Go on the internet and read about what's happening to the stock market and what the federal government's trying to do to help it. All right, what's happening? What's the government done to help it? Is it working? President Trump said we might be heading towards an economic recession. What does that even mean? What is a recession? Answer these questions below and make sure, as an economics class, as a student in my economics class, you continue to follow this story because economics is in the news every single day, and especially with what's going on with the coronavirus and the impact it's having on our stock market and our economy. It is definitely something we are going to be talking about virtually on a day-to-day basis. All right. This is due by 11:59 p.m. So I want you to answer these 6 questions. Give me some feedback about the situation here. All right, and go ahead and turn that in. I just want to click over real quick and show you the PowerPoint. So what I did was I created this PowerPoint, which you should have seen already because I posted it a couple days ago for an earlier assignment. Is I put all of the chapter 6 information into this PowerPoint, and as we go through it, I just continue to add slides and add information. All right. So you guys already covered section 1, prices as signals. We did that last class. So you can jump forward to slide 6, which is going to be the start of section 2, the price system at work. All right. We talked about a lot of this before we left class, but as you can see, I included this market equilibrium figure over here because we looked at this. We talked about, where businesses and companies and corporations and small businesses should be in terms of setting themselves a market equilibrium. If you go down this column here, you see prices. This column over here is quantity demanded. This column over here is quantity supplied, so demanded and supplied. And here's your surplus and shortages. Now, obviously, you don't want to have too much surplus and you don't want to have too much shortage. So ideally, you can see that you want to be as close to zero as possible when it comes to this final fourth column over here. All right, so if we set a price, let's say it's t-shirts, which is the example we always use in class. All right, if I set a price of $15 for a t-shirt, the quantity demanded from my customers is going to be 6, the quantity I supply is going to be 6, and my surplus shortage is going to be 0. That's reflected right here in this graph over here. This is what the supply and demand curve would look like had we had 15 t-shirts. I'm sorry, $15 per t-shirt, and we supply 6 t-shirts and the demand is 6 t-shirts. That's what we call the equilibrium price. All right, this is an economic model, and we just talked about equilibrium price. On the next slide, we covered this in class the other day. What's a surplus? What's a shortage? A surplus is when you have too much of something. A shortage is when you have too little of something. When you can get these two numbers to 0, you don't have too many and you don't have too little, that's where you can set your equilibrium price. All right, where these two meet. So if I go back to my figure over here, this is your equilibrium price, where the red curve meets the blue curve, where the supply meets the demand. All right, moving on. This is just the two charts we talked about in class the other day. What's a surplus? What's a shortage? When you have too much of something, all right, this is where people are buying it at. This is the amount you are providing. It's far too much. You're going to have all this overstock and you're going to lose money. The opposite applies over here. This is how much you have in stock, and this is how much people are demanding. All right, so you have a shortage. Explaining and predicting prices. The main idea here is just for you to know that changes in supply and demand can result in changes in prices, all right, or changes in both. That's why we need elasticity. I don't have a rubber band on me, but if I did, I would use that example of elasticity. Things need to be able to shrink. Prices need to be able to shrink. Prices need to be able to expand. Supply needs to be able to shrink. Supply needs to be able to expand. Demand will shrink. Demand will expand. That's the whole idea of elasticity. It stretches and it shrinks and it reshapes and it changes with the market. Thank you. My trusty assistant just provided me with a rubber band. All right. So think about demand. Demand grows, demand shrinks. Supply grows, supply shrinks. All right. That's the whole point of elasticity. All right. And you'll see some of that in here. And the reason why I like this figure is because this is exactly what we're seeing in the news today. What has recently caused demand for food to increase? Think about the coronavirus. Think about the grocery stores. Think about the fact that everyone's in a rush to get toilet paper, even though nobody really knows why they need toilet paper. And let's just pretend you didn't hear that. All right. So take a look at this. Read down here. More importantly, read down here. See why these curve up. Here's your supply curves, and you're seeing a shift in supply to the right. And over here, you're seeing a shift in demand to the right. And then once you do that, I want you to watch this video. Make sure you watch this video before you answer those questions. All right. Once you finish watching the video, you're going to go through these slides. You can go ahead and open up your Google Doc and answer these questions. This is the only thing that will not be in the PowerPoint. You're going to have to do a little bit of research on the internet, find a news story about the stock market and the coronavirus. All right. And give me your feedback on that here. That's going to be it for today. That will, I believe, wrap up 6.2 and 6.3 and chapter 6 in its entirety. So next class, I'm going to introduce chapter 7. And once we get through chapter 7, you guys can expect another quiz on chapter 6 and 7 like we had in class before we left. Then we'll review. We'll take some type of test. I'll make sure you're well prepared and it is appropriate considering we are virtually learning. So you should have nothing to fear there. If you have any questions, you know the deal. Send me an email, ritterm@middletownak12.org. Leave me a comment on Classroom, and I will get back to you ASAP. All right, guys, stay safe. Get out, get some fresh air, but avoid those large crowds and do your part in keeping everybody safe. All right, talk to you guys soon.